Okay, so we're going to be discussing some adjectives and filling in the blank with some adjectives in order to make our sentences more powerful. We're going to start with looking at a few objects and describing those objects using our senses. The first object we're going to look at is this ring. My ring is broken. We can add some different words to that. I can talk about the color. So I would be filling this in with an adjective. My green ring is broken. Another word I could use to describe this ring, it's squishy. I can say my squishy ring is broken. It's broken because it doesn't light up. I also see that it's pretty pointy. I can say my pointy ring is broken. There are lots of different adjectives that you can use to describe this ring. It is a small ring. My small ring is broken. We can talk about the size. There are other objects that I have that we're going to be discussing. Here are some socks. These are my avocado socks. These are my clean socks, so I like to wear them. My clean socks are my favorite, and really that goes with any socks. I really like clean socks, so clean would be the adjective there. My soft socks, I really love the way that these socks feel. They make me really happy. Notice there's some glitter. I can talk about my shiny socks. I can say my sparkly socks. Those would all be different adjectives that I could use to describe these socks. There are also lots of different colors on here, so I could say my colorful socks are my favorite. I could also say my two socks are my favorite and describe how many of the socks that there are. So there are lots of different words that I could use just to talk about these socks. You could probably come up with some other ones that maybe I didn't even say. The next thing I want to talk about, I have some scissors here. I can talk about these scissors. These scissors are pretty hard. So I could say my hard scissors can cut paper. They have a blue handle. I can say my blue scissors can cut some paper. They're pretty sharp. If they're able to cut paper, I can even describe them as being sharp. So there are lots of different ways that I can fill in this blank with an adjective. I could also say my big scissors. These aren't just tiny, tiny, tiny scissors. Oh, did you hear the noise? So they also make a little bit of a noise. Sometimes you might even put a noise type of a word in there to describe something. I have some other adjectives on the back of this paper we're going to be filling in. The next thing we're going to be talking about is this putty right here. I'm going to just open it up. Ooh, it's pretty sticky. So I'm going to say my sticky putty is in the package. So the word sticky is an adjective. It is describing that noun, the putty. I could also say my orange putty and use a color word to describe the putty. I can use lots of different words. I could even say, it's pretty soft. It's pretty smooth as well. My smooth putty is in the package. It's pretty sticky. I think we're ready to move on to the next thing. The next thing I would want to talk about, I have some pennies over here. And I have more than one penny. I have a couple of pennies. I actually have 2 pennies. And these are, I have dirty pennies. They are not very clean. I know what else I could even say. I have round pennies. So I have dirty, round pennies. Not so cool. I could describe the color. The copper pennies are on the table. So lots of different adjectives that we can use. The last thing I wanted to discuss are these bananas over here. So bananas are a noun. Remember, they're a thing. So I have, they are looking really ripe. So I'm going to talk about them as being ripe bananas. The ripe bananas are on the table. I could say instead of that, maybe I want to talk about how many that there are. When I describe words that tell how many, that's also a nice way that you can use an adjective. The 4 bananas are on the table. I could also fill in this. There are 4 bananas. I could talk about the color. The yellow bananas are on the table. I could say the tasty bananas are on the table. Maybe you want to talk about the shape. The long bananas are on the table. The bunch of bananas are on the table. You can describe these bananas in lots of different ways. There are some little streaks. Sometimes you might even say that you see spots on a banana. So let's pretend that these bananas are spotty. I've seen some spotty bananas before. We could always pretend that. And that would be another way that you could use an adjective. So remember, adjectives are describing words. They can describe nouns, and you can fill in lots of different options when it comes to adjectives. So there's lots of different words that qualify as an adjective. Maybe you can find some different ways that you would want to describe the items that I was using today. But essentially, adjectives describing a noun.